Hello, it's me, Gilly. Do you guys remember those things we used to go to where it was like a big event and then two people would stand in front of all their family and friends and then commit to being in a relationship together forever? I think they were called weddings. I miss weddings. I miss weddings now because of COVID, and what being at a wedding represents. But I have to say that before COVID, I hadn't been to a wedding in a long time because there's this kind of a curve with weddings. There's a certain period of time where everyone is getting married, all because everyone's at the marrying age, like between the ages of about 25 to 35. If you're a woman, if you're a man, it's like 25 to 70. And I have to say, I started getting quite bored with the weddings long before we got to COVID because, especially Jewish weddings, I used to find them incredibly routine. Jewish weddings are very routine. No matter how people try to disguise the routine, it's always the same set of events that happens at every single wedding. And I started getting a little bit bored of that movie. A Jewish wedding starts off, you go to the ceremony, and then, you watch, it's about 30 or 40 minutes of Hebrew. The bride goes around the groom a bunch of times. There's some singing by a guy called Choni G. Then, they break the groom breaks the glass, Mazel Tov, and it's off to the races. Then, this is an important part of the wedding. It's before you go into the wedding hall, you stand outside the wedding hall and you are required to eat a large variety of salmon dishes. This usually happens, depends what kind of venue it is, but often what's happening is this gives the wedding party an opportunity to get their photos taken, right? This is before the bride and all of her bridesmaids' makeup just starts dripping off their faces. And before the grooms and all the groomsmen get all their white shirts messed up, this is an opportunity for them to get their photos before everybody is so fucking drunk that they can't take pictures anymore. You as a guest are eating the salmon, but what's happening is it's usually quite sunny and you're sitting sort of baking in the sun. It's that 5 o'clock afternoon sweaty feeling, and you've got one plate like this with your salmon on it, and then your another hand is holding a drink, and then you've got your handbag under here, so you can't actually, and you're making awkward small talk with somebody from primary school, and then you can't ever eat your salmon. At some point you have to turn around when no one's looking and just eat it with your mouth. And this is it's important, by the way, to eat the salmon at this stage because the food at this part of the wedding is better than the real food at the actual wedding that they're going to serve you later. So that's something to keep in mind. This is also an opportunity, I think, to assess what's happening at the wedding. Look at the people that are there. Just really look at who's there and what you're going to deal with over the next couple of hours, because this is a good opportunity, if you absolutely have to make a break for it. Because now you're making an informed decision about what your next couple of hours are going to be like. So I've never done this, but I think it's worth thinking about, next time you're in the situation. Then everybody gets herded into the wedding hall. We all stand in the hall. And when you sit at your table, this is your time to understand what the bride and groom really think of you. Because you now see where you are seated and with whom. So either, maybe you're at the cool kids table, they think you're cool, maybe they think you're a loser. Maybe they think you need to find a husband, so it's you and 8 oaks, or maybe they think you're so hopeless, so it's just you and 5 couples. This is a good time. It's a good time to figure that out. And then, this is what happens next. The horrors. The horror is Jewish dancing. And you'll recognize songs like Hava Nagila Hava. That's what a horror is. It's like group dancing, right? And at this stage, this is something we kind of wish we could avoid but can't. And it's quite hard from my perspective as a woman to do these dances because you're usually in heels and the dancing is quite aggressive, and you have to pretend that you're having a good time because you want the bride to feel celebrated. You know, you don't want the bride to feel like a loser. So like you always have to smile a lot. Whenever she looks at you, you're like, woo! Like this is your favorite activity that you of all time. Every now and again you get to like take a break because you're exhausted. Oh my god. And also like you are also, while you're trying to do these dance routines and make the bride feel good about herself, you got to make sure she feels good about herself and that you are involved. You got to be involved. But also at the same time you're trying not to get in the way of the men, because the men and women dance separately. You're trying to not to get in the way of the men's dancing, which is happening very close by. And what's happening right next to you is that it seems as though the groomsmen are trying to murder the groom. It does appear that they are trying to kill him. I don't know if that's to save him, a life of marriage, but it looks very dangerous. They're throwing him up in the air. They're like ripping his clothes off, beating him with a stick. I don't know what they do, but it's very scary. Anyway, if you can get through that, the worst is over. Then you get to sit down. You have another meal, which is not as good as the first meal. And then there's speeches. I'm a big fan of speeches personally. Even if they're bad, I kind of like them. Because I like a show. I like dinner and a show. You know what I mean? There's always the best man is always like the funniest one. Or terrible. Sometimes they're just terrible. I once wrote a speech for a best man that I didn't know. Somebody asked me to write a best man speech for him. I got paid to do it. Didn't know the groom. Apparently went very well. And yeah, after that, some very, very hysterical woman will try to get you to get on the dance floor and catch the bouquet. Before the bouquet happens, you dance to songs like Brown Eyed Girl and then I saw her face. And then the hysterical woman comes and finds you no matter where you are. Even if you're in your car on your way home, she will drag you back to that dance floor to catch a bouquet. Because these people are under the impression that catching a bouquet really can result in a wedding, It's just, those are the rules of the universe. The laws of the universe dictate that this should happen. And then you go home, and I have to say, I could do a wedding now. I think I've recovered from the routine. I wouldn't mind a bit of routine, a bit of good old-fashioned Jewish weddingry. That's what I'm looking forward to. If you ever get a chance to go to a Jewish wedding, highly recommend it. Wear flat shoes, bring an extra shirt. See you tomorrow.